Hello, and welcome to another week of a week in life vlogs. So today is Monday, 19th of April, 2021, of course. Yeah, so anyway, fuel prices first, as ever. Bit of a shock, first shock of the week. So, and the shock being that UK fuels is cheaper. Not only that, but a fair bit cheaper with the Shell card for UK fuels. So that's 98.66, which is, a fair chunk, pretty cheap for the time bit prices at the moment. And the BWC or BWOC is 101.15. So the BWOC's gone up a bit, and the UK fuels has come down quite a bit. So with the VAT, UK fuels is 118.39 or 118.4, should we call it? So I've just filled up with Shell for the first time in quite some time. I did mention, it was last week, I'm changing the car to get through UK fuels from Shell to something else, but I spoke to them today. It won't happen until the end of this week. Apparently it can take up to 2 weeks. And that Shell price stands. I'm okay to use it, so I'm using that. The first shock of the week. So yeah, a bit slack this morning. Didn't really start looking for jobs until like 20 to 10. Being a Monday, I was a bit slack getting out of bed and stuff. Make the most of my bed before I go out on the run. And then, it was pretty quiet, to be honest, pretty slow. Even the West Midlands is a good area. Didn't get my first job until just before 12 midday, and it's one of them jobs that kind of getting to the point now. Do I really want to go for it or not? It was 89 miles long wheelbase from Lichfield down to by Gloucester. I went in at £1 a mile. I knew it was like 16 miles, I think, to get to it, because it was in picking up. It says Lichfield, but it means Fradley Distribution Park, which is where I used to do Yodel from for about 10 weeks during the first lockdown. So even though it said on the map it's like 20 odd miles there, I knew I could go there much more direct and get there. Got the job anyway, went and picked it up. It's one of the pallet networks. Quite an interesting place, Fradley Business Distribution Parks. It's old World War II airfield. It's quite a big one by the looks of it, or what I've read. Quite like reading up about these things. And this pallet network, there's a few up there. I've not been to this one before, and I had to drive into one of them massive big old aircraft hangars from World War II, the big sort of dome ones, or not dome, like a barrel, half barrel shaped one. That's quite interesting for me anyway. Picked it up. There's a 1 ton pallet of bags of something. I think it was a couple of the bags at the bottom of it were leaking, so I made sure to take photos out before I left and rang the office and spoke to the forklift guy. Then he supposedly told the office, but I rang the office myself just to make sure they're aware that it was damaged before I left. They were fine, yeah, crack on. Came down here, it was past Gloucester on the road towards Chepstow, say about 10 miles down that road, or a bit less, to like a farm supply shop. Pretty cool guys there. He unloaded me straight away off the forklift, and turns out what it was like instant milk, powdered milk for cattle, for calves. So yeah, like ones that are gonna be bottle fed calves. So a ton of that supplied. And he said to me, says if I was you, I'd brush it up straight away, because if it gets wet, it's gonna go sticky as. So that's what I did straight away. Cleaned the van out. So I tipped that about 3 o'clock or just after. And that was it for the day. A few jobs came up at a bid on, but pretty quiet down here. Just a quiet day, I think. So one job, 89 quid. So with the dead miles, it worked out as 100 miles exactly to get that job done. But then I stayed around that area till like 6 o'clock, and then admitted defeat and had to drive to Gloucester, because that was the nearest chippy. Do 12 dead miles, but I'm in a much better spot for the morning. This is the Gloucester and Sharpness or something canal, quite a wide one. Perhaps closed down that way. So I'm going to go for a wander now, check it out a bit. Might even go for a run in the morning. I do need to get into the habit of getting at least one run in each week, I think. So it's going to be cold in the mornings. Weather forecast for the week's pretty much like it has been last week. Really good. So it's nice and sunny during the day, but still getting pretty cold at night. So I'll be using the night heater all week, I think. Yeah, that's it. Start to the week. A bit disappointing, but partly my fault for starting so late, and just the way it is. So fingers crossed for a decent week. Right, Tuesday evening now, or night really. I think it's just before 10 p.m. Didn't actually go for a run this morning. Wasn't that I was lazy though. I actually got another job. I did another job last night. Obviously, it'd been a bit of I started a bit late, which is kind of my fault, but just that one job for 89 quid, I think it was. Wasn't great, so I finished going for that walk, got back to the van, and then the job pinged up, and it was one of the COVID sample jobs, small van jobs. Shipper I've done loads of COVID jobs for in the evenings through this pandemic, and it was Gloucester area. It was a GL postcode going over to Norwich. It tends to be either Norwich, NR10, or central London. It's over to Norwich. It's a bit strange this one because I looked at it and I'm sure it's at 170 miles, and I thought, well, if I'm doing it this time of night, I'll just bang in £1.50 a mile loaded, and I knocked a few quid off. Can't remember what but I went in at 247. Got the job, and then when I went back into the app, it was saying 220 miles loaded. It definitely wasn't showing up when I bid on it, but it was showing me going all the way down, like down to the M25, around the M25 a bit, and then up. But in the end, even Google didn't give me that option. I just kind of went cross country from the pickup. So the pickup, it said, wasn't until 11:15, which is partly why I went. It's so expensive. So I kind of known it's like 3 3/4 hours drive. So I thought, well, that's like get there at like 3 o'clock in the morning, because I'd started late and it's beginning of the week. I felt I had a bit of a thought through. I don't really work late if I'm feeling tired, but start of the week I was quite fresh, easy day, late start, and thought, yeah, just do it. Need to keep the money coming in, sort of thing. And it actually worked out better than that, because the shipper said to me, if you want to go a bit early and give them a ring, because the contact then will be there, and ask if you can pick it up earlier, feel free to do so. So I thought, well, I don't want to get there too early. It was like 9 o'clock I got the job. It's half an hour from it, 17 miles. I thought if I get there, just like get to about the area, like just after 10, give them a ring. And you never know. And I was on my way there, got a coffee on the way. Second coffee of the day. I don't normally drink that late at night, but it's going to be a late one. The shipper rang me just before 10. I was about 10 minutes from it, and says, oh, they've been in touch, said it's actually ready now. I was, yeah, happy days. So yeah, it's a bit of a strange one, the address. It looked like a residential address because it was 2 something cottages, something farm cottages. But then the contact name had like somebody's name, it was Jake, but it had in brackets a 3-letter acronym, and I thought it's just a bit strange, really. Anyway, as I got closer, dark by then, obviously, going over up into the Cotswolds, so Gloucester, and you got that big hill to round about the top, if you know it. I don't know what the road is. Kept going past that, sort of towards Oxford way. Anyway, and it's just sort of saw these lights in the distance, and as I got closer, I realised that's where I was going. And there's all these trucks and marquees and floodlights and all kinds of stuff. What the hell's going on here? Pulled in, security guards. They say, oh yeah, blah blah blah, COVID. You just wait over there, we'll grab them. Gave a contact's name. Nice chap brought it over. It was just a box this time. It wasn't like a jiffy bag. It was one box. So I asked. I said I shouldn't ask, but we're obviously filming something there. And he says, "What are they filming?" And he says, "Oh, it's a horror movie, and they're filming it in the church in this little Cotswold village that night. He said they filmed all the daylight stuff, so we just got the nighttime shots scenes to do, so we're doing them this week or whatever. Hence why all that stuff was there when they were working at night. So yeah, it's just one of them random places pickups you do. So pickup was really good. I was out there by 10:15, loaded and gone. Good cross-country road drive. This one, loads of A roads and B roads, very little motorway. Driving at that time of night, as heavy. I had a few one road closure on the A14 over to East Anglia way, so I had to go around that. Google sorted that one for me. Saw 2 lots of deer. Well, the first one was one deer that was in the Cotswolds, and then it kind of makes you think, when you see deers at the side of the road that time of night, you see them dead on the side of the road, and if you hit one of them, it's going to make a right mess of your van. So that spooked me out a bit. And then later on, sort of Thetford way, there was loads of them. Herd of deer like just on the hard shoulder as I came off a roundabout, so that's a bit thing. So yeah, something to be aware of. And then as I got close to the drop, it was quite thick fog and mist, so that slowed me down a bit. So I got there about 2:30 or just before, to the lab the other side of Norwich, NR10. Ooh, fox. Can I change it? No, I can't change the direction. There's a fox just ran past me and he's carrying a white bag or something. Nature watch. Anyway, first fox I've seen in a little while. He should stop now. No, he's still going. Anyway, yeah, where was I? Yeah, so I know exactly where I was going to tramp. This lay-by just outside of the business park where the lab is, right next to if anyone's done these jobs, it's right next to the co-op, not the co-op, the post office and convenience store, just around the corner from where you go into it. So I've probably stopped there like 3 or 4, maybe 5 times now. I was in bed for 3, and I thought I'll set the alarm for 9, get up at 9, because there will be jobs before that which I'll miss, but most of the jobs start at 9 onwards. Got up at 9, I slept quite well, to be honest. Even though I had 6 hours, didn't feel too bad the first thing this morning. Got myself a coffee from this post officey shop, had my breakfast, watching the feed. There's a few jobs coming up Norwich way, and then one came up, NR10, which is where I was, but it was odd. It said Sheffield/Scotland, and then in the maps they'd put with location, it was just like a random Shreffy or something numbers, and if you clicked on map view, it was showing it was down in Bournemouth or something. So I rang him and I said, "What's the crack with this job?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, I'm right hash of posting that one. We're just snowed under here trying to get it all organised. It's delivering COVID kits from the lab, which I just delivered to loads of times, and the night before, to like residential addresses. Would you be interested? Blah blah blah." And it's hard to speak to the guy because he was just like, he was talking to me on the phone. He was talking to his colleague in the office, and he says, gave him my number and stuff. Anyway, long story short, got a job that was supposed to be 180 to 200 miles, 10 drops. And I says, he goes, "What's your price?" And I says, I didn't know what to charge because it was a small van job. I said, "What about 160?" So I thought that's like between 75 and 80 pence a mile, which isn't ideal, but it was getting me from there with no dead miles. And he said the last point was in Cambridge, last tip. So it'd get me, probably take most of the day, but get me 200 quid and get me to Cambridge, no dead miles from back end of nowhere. So yeah, got that job. He actually says, "No, I'll tell you what, I'll give you 200, but make sure you do a really good job and take a photo of every drop and upload it." So I did all that. When I got there, it was actually, I had to meet another driver. He gave me them. There's another 2 drops. So I rang him straight away, agreed another 40 quid, so it's 240. I route mapped it in Road Warrior. This is what it looked like.
Yeah, so as you can see from that map, one dropper to go west towards Peterborough, but not that far, like just like 50 minutes from where I was. And it was one drop like P37 it was, then some in Norwich, then down the coast to Colchester via Felixstowe and somewhere else, so I forget. And then one sort of by Bury St Edmunds, and then 3 drops in Cambridge, which was quite interesting because I've never actually been to the centre of Cambridge, past all the nice old churches and uni buildings and stuff. And then 1 drop in Buship Stortford, which is where I am now and where I'm shopping tonight. Yeah, it took longer than I thought. It was 247 miles for the day. So I just totted it up in the book. 240 quid. So it's not. It was a long day. It was probably just over 10 hours for them. 240 quid, which isn't the worst. And it's pretty much, near as damn it, £1 a mile. Even though it's like multi drops 12 stops. So yeah, pretty good day really, considering where I was. That's a bit of a result I consider. But I'm absolutely shattered now. Well, not shattered, but pretty tired. Not sleepy, but tired. So I'm going to bang the heater on, get to bed, try and wake up reasonably early. There's M11 here, sort of Bishop Stortford. Really close here to the other side of the M11 is Stansted. I actually heard some planes coming in now, just now. So yeah, hopefully it's a good place to get a job in the morning, but at this junction of the M11 there's a services, so I'm thinking if I get up like 6:30, I'll get there for like 7, try and get a shower first thing in the morning. Could even go a run before that, and then just be ready to start looking for jobs like 8:30, 9. Yeah, but I'll see how I feel in the morning, but definitely need a shower now. Pretty manky. Right, Wednesday. Yeah, it's sort of night now. Not in the van. So yeah, actually, got a shower this morning. The services, pretty decent showers there. Actually, didn't have to wait. So I started looking for jobs about 9. A few jobs, well, a fair few jobs pinging up, but I was being a bit selective, so I didn't go for anything going to like London. That it took a while to get a job. I didn't get one until 11:15. It was about 12 miles from where I was from memory, and it was up to Northampton. It was like 70 quid I got for it. I think it was like £1 a mile loaded, but obviously 12 miles to get there. Yeah, that went alright. Can't remember what it was, to be honest, but yeah, pretty uneventful. And then sat in, I got there like sort of like 2ish, just after 2. Took a little while to get the next job. I was actually thinking I was only like 60 miles or so from home. I was thinking to get to 5 and I've not got anything, and I've done alright so far. £1 per mile rate. So I thought I might just drive home from there. But I did actually get a job in the end, 3 miles from where I was. It was 88 miles, so in an 88 quid long wheelbase. Got it. The guy actually says we'll just call it 90, so got 90 quid for this one. So it's £1 a mile, including getting there basically, because they're so close. Yeah, and that was just one pallet from like a warehousey place, but it's not dropping off until the morning in Great something, not far from Stansted, Great Dunmow or something. And when I got this, I thought, right, if I'm not going home, I'll either get a hotel tonight or go home. So obviously got this, so I'm not going home. And when I was looking for a hotel yesterday, but I didn't bother because it ended up finishing too late and it really wasn't worth it. I tried, if I'm staying in a hotel, I like to, a few hours watching the TV and stuff, which is what I'm doing now. Adverts are on. Yeah, there was one in Great Dunmow, Travelodge, 35 quid. It was like one of the cheapest ones in the area. It stopped really close to here last night. And it's ended up in the same place again. So I can't take a chance it's going to be the same again, but when I checked, they haven't got any cheap rooms. I think the whole 25 quid a night Travelodge, now things are opening up. I think that's a thing of the past, really. Yeah, so it's like 48 quid for that one. So I haven't actually stayed in Travelodge. I'm in Stansted Lodge something, which is it's only about 5 miles from the tip in the morning. Um, yeah, so that's it. Got to tip it at 8 in the morning. It's only one pallet. It's quite heavy though. I think it's probably about, well, I don't know exactly, but it's apparently it's raffle books for some charity. Big pallet of them. So there's a bit of tells a bit of weight there from driving it with it on board. Yeah, so get that tipped at 8, and then I count that kind of as yesterday's job because I've pretty much done it, and then I'll be tipped at 8 to start looking again. Yeah, so that's it. 160 for the day, 70 and 90. So a slower day, but yeah, I'm looking forward. Well, just enjoying a bit more of a chill out in a hotel. Just nice, get a shower in the morning, then hopefully have a decent couple of days to finish the week.
Hey up. Yeah, so as in our Wednesday, just gone 5, not Wednesday, Thursday, just gone 5. And yeah, so that hotel's quite nice. Well, actually the hotel yesterday wasn't the nicest, a bit sort of rough around the edges kind of thing. That room I was in was the second one, because the first one, the TV didn't work, and I really wanted to watch a couple hours of TV. Just because you don't get a chance to when you're in the van and stuff, even though I watch like download stuff on iPlay on my tablet and stuff, not quite the same. Yeah, so they changed my room and I got a nicer room, which was that one. Really comfortable bed though, I had a banging night's sleep. Just really, like I say, really comfortable bed, and I was pretty tired, so yeah, slept really well. Tipped that job 8 o'clock this morning, straight off, no messing. Didn't get the first job then until 9:45. It was a short wheelbase job, nearly 200 miles, so I went in at just 75 pence a mile loaded. So it was like 147 and got it, but I had 18 miles to get there, so overall pence per mile wouldn't have been great for that job, but I worked out up until that point I was on about £1 a mile loaded and unloaded, so I'm doing quite well on the pence per mile this week. And it just gets me north, keen to get up north, not been up here. I think I'm up here last week. It's just I much prefer it up here. Yeah, it's a tip, or pick this job up. Turned out just to be 3 sheets of perspex wrapped in bubble wrap from some signage printed place, like 2 meters by maybe 2.5 meters by half a meter. Absolutely no weight whatsoever. It's like driving an empty van. Tipped in LS12. It's quite central-ish in Leeds. Got that tipped, and then I got another job. My thinking was I could maybe get a short minimum charge job in the afternoon to sort of make up my money for the day, and also to bump the pence per mile up for the day, and that's how it worked out. I bid on a fair few jobs actually, and I got a 6-mile loaded job, long wheelbase, said needs handball, so I went in at 60 quid because I thought I'll just go in at 60 quid, chance my arm. I was about 11 miles from it, so less than 20 miles, 60 quid. I recognise this shipper now. They're one of the transport companies that are part of, by looks of it, a pallet network, and they seem to put the jobs on the exchange, problem jobs they've got through the pallet network. The one I did last week down south, which I said the pallet with like the wooden extensions sticking up on it and the bathroom stuff, it was the same shipper. So yeah, got that job. Turns out it was a Euro pallet of tiles, 700 kilograms, going to like a house, a big house down this lane. So there's the van. So behind the van, down that hill, through the forest or the woods, and there's a really nice house at the end, which are being extended. A cracking view all over that thing. Illingworth, I think I looked on a map, is over there. There's some industry down here. So I just thought, yeah, it's just gone 5 now. I've bid on a few jobs for the morning. Thought I'd just check out the view and chill out a bit here, really. Nicer than the Tesco car park. Could be a job for the morning. Got a job for the morning, so yeah, it's a localist job here to Accrington. Long wheelbase job. I went in at 60 again for this one, but it's 47 miles this one. So it's just over £1 a mile, I think, including me getting there. That's how I quoted it. He's like, oh, we normally do £1 a mile on long wheelbase. So I said, can you come down to 50? And I was like, well, no, because I sort of priced these more on time, and the shorter jobs on time rather than pounds per mile, longer jobs pound per mile. Yeah, and he's agreed to 55 in a way. We met in the middle, so gets me going early doors anyway, gets me to Accrington, sort of north of Manchester, and then I'll try and head south, tomorrow being Friday. Hopefully the wind noise isn't too bad, the wind's just picked up. Right, Friday afternoon now, just after 3, done for the week. Just got a short drive home after this. Nice to finish early, get a few things done before the weekend. Yeah, so this morning's job, which I got as I was filming the last bit, yeah, when the job came through, I still did it, but I was in two minds this one, whether to decline it. It was one of these ones, accept or decline, and the job was advertised, it's pick up 8:30, deliver ASAP, but then when it came through, it still said deliver ASAP, but then in the notes it said 11 o'clock delivery slot. So that's quite different really, because it was showing just under an hour's drive, 50 miles. It was like down the M62 and then around Manchester and then up towards Accrington way. So, you know, if I pick it up, generally, you know, like, it's the difference between 8:30 and 11 is 2.5 hours on for just to get loaded, and then a 55-minute drive, say. So I was kind of like, well, if it's going to take that long, it doesn't really work out at 55, because he knocked me to 55 from 60. And also in the notes, I've noticed before with this ship, I've done a few jobs for them. They're up north, so like I always think, like in Scotland, you've got the central belt, which is Glasgow, Edinburgh and stuff. I always kind of think of the northwest through to sort of like Leeds area, so everywhere basically from the Wirral, Birkenhead, all the way down the M56 corridor up to like Preston, Blackpool, and then sort of Manchester, Blackburn, that kind of way, Burnley, all the way across to Leeds and Bradford. Now I think of that as the Northern Belt. That's what I'm going to think of it as now and term it as. If I ever talk about Northern Belt in the future, that's what I'm on about, and that's my favourite area to be. Generally it's busy. I think it's the busiest place in the UK for me. Yeah, and it's just quite like working around there, because it's, well, good roads. It's not like, there's plenty of obviously towns and industry up there, but really like the motorway network, there's loads of it really. So it's pretty good. Anyway, so with this shipper, in their notes for the job, there's a few things which I don't like. So I was almost like, regardless of the booking in slot, just purely on this, it was like, what was it? An hour's waiting included. So in a van, that's way too much. Half an hour is the normal. If you're in a truck, maybe okay, an hour, an hour for a truck maybe, like pizza and stuff, but half an hour in a van. So potentially if I got there and I couldn't get in until 11, and then they kept me waiting for ages, like an hour, I could have got to like 12 midday by earning 55 quid, which obviously isn't enough. The other thing on the ship, then it says waiting time after that is £15 per hour, which is too low, regardless of what you're in, small van or anything, it's not enough. And then the third thing, which is, I've never seen anything like it with another shipper's comments, is if there's a problem with a job and it has to go back, it's charged at half rate, which doesn't make any sense really, because the way I'd work that out, if I had to take it back because I'd ballsed it up, I'd do it for nothing if it was my fault. But if somebody else has ballsed up, either the shipper or the client, they have to pay, because you know your costs going back is just the same as going things, so it's taking your time, so it should be just the same again really, or maybe slightly less because you already got the goods on board and you know where you're going, but not half, that's for sure. Yeah, so I didn't like that, but in the end I just thought, well, it is picking up at 8:30, I know what I'm doing in the morning, I'll just take a chance. So I accepted it. Worked out okay in the end. Biggest issue I had was probably they kept me waiting for like 35 minutes to collect.
So only a short job list, but a fair bit to talk about, because obviously the notes, basically the mis-selling of a job in terms of delivery, it's not ASAP. Their terms and conditions, which pretty crap to be honest. And the third thing was they kept me waiting a bit at the pickup, like 35 minutes, like I say. Got chatting with another owner driver, eldest gentleman. Quite a good chinwagger him. He apparently works full time for the same shipper, but he's an owner driver. Says they're quite good. He's worked for others like City Sprint before, and he says he's pretty good. It was quite interesting though talking to him. You know, he says, you know, like he says, oh yeah, they pay quite well. And he said to me, you know, like I've done London twice this week, and I get like, you know, 180, 190 from it. And I was thinking, 180, 190. He's on about pence per mile. And I was like, pounds per mile. So I said to him, what, pounds per mile? And he goes, no. He goes, you know, 180, 190 quid for the trip. I was thinking, all right. He says, like, how many miles? And he goes, around about 200. And he was in same van as I used to have, but the Vauxhall equivalent. So it was a long wheelbase Vivaro. Standard roof, which most of them are. So that's, say, 90p a mile in that, which is, you know, quite good for a subby rate, subcontracting rate. So I said to him, you want to see it? 'Cause do you get a job back? And he's like, no, I just come home empty. I used to be on a 6, but I just don't bother anymore. So now I'm thinking, well, it's 400 miles for 190 quid, which is more like 45p a mile. And I know your costs in that van are going to be like, you got a 68 plate van. I was thinking it's going to be costing him 25p a mile running plus his fixed costs. Can't be making much on a day like that. But in Pete's classification of Pete the courier driver, because if you watch my channel, I'm sure you watch his, he has a classification system for drivers, and this is the first Uncle Albert that I've met that he calls him. So, you know, sort of quite old. He said he's going to probably knock on the head in September. I think he just does it for something to do, because he says I'm normally home by 2, 3 o'clock, earn a bit of pocket money. Gets it done sort of thing, but there's no Uncle Albert, but he didn't have a white beard, and he didn't say during the war once, but yeah, definitely no Uncle Albert. I was thinking, it's got to be a shipper's dream, you know. They're paying him, you know, they're paying him all right for a one-way job, but then he's coming home empty, and then they probably, you know, give him a job or some local work all day, or just give him like one distance job each morning, and they can call up on him Monday to Friday every morning. Got to be an absolute shipper's dream, them fellas. Yeah, but I couldn't work like that. If I worked like that, I just wouldn't be making any money. That's why I just try and keep minimum, like dead miles to a minimum through the week, which is why I'm tramping so much, because it's quiet, and I obviously quite enjoy aspects of it. Yeah, but that was quite interesting. I thought, you know, it was always good to chat with other drivers. And in fact, Pete always says as well, you do you. You can sort of, if you're in this line of business, you do it to sort of suit your own requirements and personal circumstances, really. Because he said to me, you're married or you can't have a missus or anything if you're stopping away in the van. And I was like, well, no, I'm single, sort of thing, and got my kids from an ex-relationship, but yeah, only see them on the weekends and the odd holiday, so there's nothing stopping me from doing that regard. So yeah, each to their own, as I say. Yeah, so that was that job. So tipped that one in Accrington. Yeah, and then in the end, it was actually alright, because I turned up. Instead of going the way it suggested, because it had the live booking slot at 11, I thought I'll go the shorter way, which actually took about an extra half an hour, but it was really scenic, and it saved quite a few miles, so all miles ended up being 40 miles for 55 quid, so that made it better. I cut through Halifax to Hebden Bridge, and then from Hebden Bridge, Google Maps took me up some crazy steep hill, like well over 20%, switchback climbs out of the valley onto the tops, Pennine tops, and then a beautiful drop down into Accrington.
And the way it's a booking in slot, and normally when it says that, you're kind of thinking a gatehouse and they're not going to let you in until then, but there's no gatehouse, so I just nipped straight in. Saw a guy on a forklift, says, oh yeah mate, I've got 2 pallets. And he's like, yeah, just park there, I'll take it straight off. So he took it straight off, and I was done by 20 to 11. So if I'd probably just gone straight there, I stopped getting coffee and took the long route, I probably could have got it off, it would have been alright. But anyway, that was that job. And then from there, I checked the feed. There was loads of jobs on a feed, you know, like active feed. The previous night I'd set my home location to that area, and there was probably 30 odd jobs, and I was scrolling through, and there's a few to the Midlands, bid on a few to the Midlands, got one, it's a job I just done. It was picking up from Manchester area, about 20 odd miles away, and it said picking up in Manchester and 2 drops B70, which is like West Brom. So bid on it, the guy rings me up and says, oh, there's actually another drop in Manchester on the way. So in the end it was like 95 miles all in, loaded, but 1 collection, 3 drops. And I just said, I'll do it for £1 a mile, even though I was like 20 odd miles away. And he's like, yeah, I'm happy with that. So it was 95 quid. And it's got me like really close to home, I think like 3 or 4 miles from home here. So that's the results. Pretty knackered now. I don't know. I slept in this morning as well. Luckily, I'd woke up just in time. Set my alarm for 7:15. I always put, well, I got a heater on. I put earplugs in, either sort of foamy plugs. But normally I can hear my alarm and it'll wake me up. But this morning I just slept straight through it, and luckily I woke up at 5 to 8, which just gave me enough time to pack away, not in any mad rush, and then get to the place. And I got there with 5 minutes to spare, because I was only 10 minutes down the road, parked in the Tesco's car park. Yeah, so that was the day. And this job was picking up from a company that does printing panels, they're called. I'd actually picked up from there before, didn't realise until I just drove into the place, and like, yeah, I've been here before in the old van. And it's delivering to packaging companies, so the company's printing panels apparently are what, so cardboard boxes, they'll have black writing. It's the printing bits for them, like it's like a spongy sort of latexy thing with the emblem and the text, and then it goes on their printing press or whatever to stamp each cardboard box in their production line or whatever. So yeah, delivered to 3 of them. They're all really easy drops because it was all just stuff you can hand carry by hand in the van. Yeah, so quite nice to be finished. I've done quite well this week. Pounds per mile is definitely up around the £1 per mile mark. Obviously I'll work it out for the summary. About 1100 quid all in, which isn't bad for how it's been at the moment. And it's definitely picking up, I think. So I did the figures yesterday and it was quite good. I'll try and do this again this evening and then mention it in the summary. So that's the week so far. It's quite warm as well, so I'm going home, do some stuff. I think I'll go for a run, and then weekend with my son. So yeah, that's Friday. Right, late Saturday afternoon now. Time for the summary. Yeah, I probably won't upload it until the Sunday anyway, but just get it done. So it's ready. So these are my figures for the week. So as ever, these are just what I charged on the CX. So obviously I have to charge VAT on top of this. I get to keep a portion of that because I'm on the flat rate scheme for VAT. And then I've got all my costs to come out. And then that'll be my profit. And then because I'm a sole trader, I'll just pay income tax, national insurance on my profit. That's how it works as a sole trader, basically. Very basic terms. So Monday was 2 jobs, 89 and 247, which was 336. So that was the best day of the week. But remember, I did work. I didn't get my first job till midday, but then I worked until I didn't get to bed until what 3 because I did that COVID drop. Tuesday, 1 job for 240, which was delivering the COVID kits. Wednesday, 70 and 90 for 160. Thursday, 147 and 60 for 207. And Friday, 55 and 95 for 150, which is the lowest of the week, but it got me home
was 5 miles from home in the end. So even though it's not, and I finished at like just after 3 o'clock. So it wasn't really a full day. It's a total 1,093, which is £218.60 per day. So I'm starting to think more about not my regular costs. So I've got my regular costs, but things like hotels. So I did stay in one hotel this week, so it would have been 40 quid off that, or 39 quid. Yeah, so I need to sort of think about putting them into the numbers somehow. And it's 1,136 miles from leaving on a Monday to getting back on a Friday. So like I say, one night in a hotel, didn't get home through the week, so I was 3 nights in a van. So that works out as an all miles pence per mile of 96.2 pence a mile. So that's pretty good, really. What I'm aiming to do, at least 85. The reason it's quite good is because I did that late night COVID job, which was paid well over £1 a mile. I also did a minimum charge job, 60 quid for 6 miles, which was the pallet up in Bradford area. Yeah, and did a few smaller jobs that paid decent. So that's 96.2 pence per mile. That's pretty good, really. Remember, that's loaded and unloaded, all miles. Yep, so that was figures for the week. A few things I want to mention this week, which is kind of what the title is about. Interested to know your input on this. The first one, which I should have, I don't know why I forgot to mention it during doing the vlog, but on the Thursday I actually got stopped and the van, kind of the load area, inspected by VOSA. There was a police pickup on the side of the road in an industrial estate, 2 coppers, and I think the other person was VOSA, who's the guy who spoke to me. And they waved me over, and I thought, Christ, what's going on here? It's literally just a normal industrial estate. I was going to pick up something from Witham. So after I'd done the drop, so I stayed in the hotel, did the drop, and then I got this job to Witham to go up to Leeds. On that industrial estate, they pulled me over, and he just said, blah, blah, blah. He says, oh, yeah, what are you doing? What kind of work here? And I says, oh, I'm a same-day courier. And as soon as people hear the word courier, they just think you're doing parcels. So, oh yeah, parcels is it? And I'm like, no, I do more pallets and stuff. And he goes, can I have a look at your load area? And I says, no. I says, yeah, I can do, but it's empty. And then I popped out the van, showed him the back of the van. And he goes, oh yeah, it really is empty. So yeah, and then the copper just says, all right, thanks very much. See you later. So yeah, I just disappeared around the corner and got loaded and drove straight back past them. I haven't just been loaded, but there's no weight or anything to this. It was like 3 pieces of perspex of something, like no weight to it at all. Yeah, and he didn't stop me on the way out. So you do get stopped in vans. If I had a couple of pallets on, I might be asking what does it weigh and all this stuff and how have you secured it, I'm sure. But I have heard VOSA and that are obviously really keen on the HGVs, have been for years, but I think I've read in recent years they've really started to go after or pay more attention to panel vans and Lutons and that kind of thing. So interested to know, has anyone else been stopped or know of anyone that's been stopped either recently, the last few years or whatever? So it does happen. So you hear some people say, if it's on, it's gone, and basically if it fits, I'll take it, and not much regard for weights and stuff. I'm pretty keen on it, really, because I think you have to be, because it's you could lose your license or end up with a real nasty fine. Plus it's just not really professional, and if you're dealing with professional firms, they shouldn't put you in that situation. And you also have seen people last other vans load up and stuff, and they don't bother putting straps on, and then they just disappear, assuming they don't stop outside and strap up. But I think a lot of them just, it's on, go. So yeah, something to think about. And the other thing was, what was the other thing? Overnight jobs. So I did the overnight job where I stayed in the hotel because I was loaded down by Stansted. So I loaded in Northampton and then I delivered at 8 in the Stansted area the morning after. And I only charged like normal money for this, and I think the shipper was a bit surprised.
and kind of bit my hand off, but I never really know what to charge for overnight jobs. There is an issue with insurance, so I normally say, what is it? You know, like if it's going to be a load of computers or something, can't do it, because my goods in transit overnight, if I'm not in the van, I think between the hours of 10 at night, or might even be earlier, and 6 in the morning, if it's unattended, it's not covered because in transit. Something like that. So, you know, if it's like packaging, I can't remember what this was. It was like printed raffle books, so we're not going to be any use to anyone. Yeah, it was alright. I was happy to do it. But yeah, should you charge more? Should you charge less because it's in the van overnight? I've heard Pete say, you know, if it's an overnight job, maybe charge a bit more and stuff. But I didn't know. What do you think? Comments below. If so, how much? Is there some kind of rule you work off and get work charging that? Be interested to know. Other than that, yeah, it's as ever. Any comments about the week, please let them below. Put them below to help me and anyone else who watches. Yeah, cheers for watching.